Every farmer who dreams of raising strong, healthy, and profitable chickens must start with one truth: chicks cannot survive on their own. They are delicate, fragile, and fully dependent on you, the farmer. And the tool you will use to protect them in their early days is called the brooder. A brooder is the artificial environment that replaces the natural care of a mother hen. In traditional village settings, chicks were kept under the wings of their mothers. The hen provided warmth, guided them to food, warned them of danger, and shielded them from predators. But in commercial and even semi-commercial poultry farming, we do not use mother hens. We buy day-old chicks from hatcheries in large numbers. And when they arrive at the farm, they have no mother to protect them. This is where the brooder steps in. A brooder is a nursery where chicks grow safely during their first 4 to 6 weeks. A heater providing constant warmth. A classroom where chicks learn where to find food and water. A shield protecting them from predators, drafts, and disease. A hospital because sick chicks recover better in a well-managed brooder. Think of the brooder as the intensive care unit, ICU, for chicks. The way a newborn baby is placed in an incubator for warmth and monitoring, a chick needs a brooder. Without it, survival is almost impossible. Why can't chicks just live in an open room or cage from day one? The answer lies in biology. Temperature regulation. Newly hatched chicks do not have feathers, only soft down. Feathers are what insulate birds against cold and heat. Without feathers, chicks cannot control their body temperature. They lose heat rapidly and can freeze even in mild weather. Weak immune system. In the first weeks, their immune system is still developing. If exposed to cold, wet, or dirty environments, diseases spread rapidly. Fragile bones and muscles. At this stage, their legs and wings are still soft. They need soft bedding and safe ground to prevent deformities. High mortality risk. Studies show that most chick deaths on farms occur in the first 14 days. With a proper brooder, this number drops dramatically. The brooder is not just important, it is everything. The success of your poultry business depends on how well you manage these first weeks. Farmers who ignore this stage often lose half their flock before the chicks even reach 1 month old. How long should chicks stay in the brooder? For layers usually 4 to 6 weeks, until they are fully feathered. For broilers around 3 to 4 weeks, since they grow faster. Remember, the brooder is not forever. It is only the transition stage, preparing the chicks for life in the grower house or layer house. If you fail in brooding, you fail in farming. Every mistake you make in the brooder will follow your birds throughout their life. A chick that grows weak in the brooder will never become a strong layer or a heavy broiler. Early stress delays growth, reduces future egg production, and increases vulnerability to disease. That's why experienced farmers say, the success of your flock is written in the brooder. If you remember only one thing from this episode, let it be this: heat is life. For a baby chick, warmth is the difference between survival and death. When chicks hatch, they are covered in down, soft, fluffy covering that looks like feathers, but does not protect them from cold. Unlike adult chickens that have a fully developed feather coat to regulate their body temperature, chicks are almost defenseless against environmental changes. At just 1 day old, their tiny bodies lose heat very quickly. A small drop in room temperature that feels normal to you, say, 23 degrees Celsius, is dangerously cold to them. Imagine being a newborn baby placed outside in the cold without clothes. That is what chicks experience when they don't have a brooder to keep them warm. Without warmth, chicks become weak and stop moving. They huddle together for heat. They pile on top of each other, and many die of suffocation. Even survivors remain stunted for life. With proper warmth, chicks remain active, exploring the brooder. They eat and drink properly. They chirp happily and move freely. They grow stronger and develop immunity faster. Farmers often think disease is what kills most chicks. But in truth, Poor brooding temperatures cause more deaths than disease. Heat is invisible, but it is the most powerful factor in survival. The recommended temperature for chicks is not a fixed number. It changes week by week as the chicks grow feathers and learn to regulate their own body heat. Here is the general temperature guide. Week 1, 32 to 34 degrees Celsius. Week 2, 30 to 32 degrees Celsius. Week 3, 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. Week 4, 26 to 28 degrees Celsius. Week 5, 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. Week 6, 22 to 24 degrees Celsius, around room temperature, depending on your climate. After week 6, most chicks are fully feathered and can survive at normal room temperature. This gradual reduction in heat is called hardening or temperature step down. It is like slowly weaning a child off milk. You do it gently so the chicks adjust without stress. The best thermometer in the world is not the one on your wall, it is your chicks themselves. Chicks communicate comfort through behavior. If too cold, they crowd tightly under the heat source, chirping loudly. Some may even climb on top of each other, leading to suffocation. If too hot, they run to the edges of the brooder, panting, with wings spread out. Some collapse from heat stress. If just right, they spread evenly around the brooder, eating, drinking, and chirping softly. Every farmer must learn to read the language of chicks. Your eyes and ears will guide you better than any thermometer. Lamps should be hung 18 to 24 inches above the floor in the center. Charcoal stoves must be covered and placed safely so chicks cannot step on them. Always check the corners, if chicks avoid them, there may be drafts. Tip: use chick guards, circular barriers, around the heat source in the first 2 weeks. This keeps chicks close to warmth and prevents them from wandering into cold corners. Light is almost as important as heat. In the first week, provide 23 hours of light and 1 hour of darkness. Light helps chicks find feed and water. Gradually reduce to natural daylight after the second week. Remember, light is guidance, heat is life. Heat is life, never compromise. Start at 32 to 34 degrees Celsius and reduce gradually. Choose a heat source that suits your farm. Observe chick behavior as your guide. Always balance heat and light. A good poultry farmer does not just see bedding as something to cover the floor. Bedding is a living environment for your chicks, it is their bed, their playground, and their bathroom, all in one. When chicks are placed directly on a hard floor, whether it's concrete or bare earth, many problems appear. The floor becomes cold and chills the chicks. Droppings stick and cause infections. Feed and water spill directly onto the floor, attracting flies and bacteria. Chicks slip and develop splayed legs or joint injuries. Bedding solves all of these. It acts as a cushion to keep chicks comfortable, an insulator to retain warmth, an absorbent layer to soak up droppings and spilled water, a hygiene manager to reduce smell, bacteria, and ammonia. Think of bedding as the mattress of your chicks. If the mattress is clean and soft, the chicks grow happy. If the mattress is dirty and wet, the chicks suffer quietly, but heavily. Different farmers use different materials depending on availability and cost. Bedding provides warmth, comfort, and hygiene. Best materials: wood shavings, rice husks, chopped straw, sand, depending on climate. Avoid newspapers, plastics, and moldy straw. Keep bedding 5 to 10 centimeters thick. Stir daily, replace wet spots immediately, and top up weekly. Watch for ammonia smell, it is the warning of danger. You can build the strongest brooder, you can provide perfect warmth and clean bedding, but if feed and water are not handled correctly, your chicks will still fail. For a chick, every hour without food or water is a step backward. Their bodies are growing at an incredible speed. Within just the first 7 days, a chick's weight can double or even triple. But this miracle only happens if the farmer ensures that feed and water are always available, clean, and easy to reach. Feed provides the building blocks, proteins for muscle, energy for movement, vitamins for immunity. Water provides the medium of life, it helps digestion, regulates body temperature, and makes up about 70% of the chick's body weight. Think of it this way, feed is the bricks of the house, water is the cement. Without either, the house cannot stand. When chicks arrive from the hatchery, they are often tired, dehydrated, and stressed. The first 24 hours are the most critical. Step 1, give water first. Before offering feed, always provide water. Mix clean drinking water with glucose or sugar, 50 g per liter, to give them quick energy. You can also add vitamins or electrolytes if available. A chick can survive 24 hours without food, but only a few hours without water. Step 2, introduce feed gently. After 1 to 2 hours of drinking, provide feed. Sprinkle a thin layer of feed on chick trays, paper, or clean cardboard. This helps them recognize feed by sight and pecking instinct. Later, gradually move feed into proper feeders. Feed for chicks is categorized into stages, each with different nutrient requirements. Starter mash, 0 to 8 weeks. Protein, 18 to 20%. Energy, high. Vitamins and minerals, balanced for growth. Crumbled form for easy picking. Grower feed, 8 to 18 weeks, 4 layers. Protein, 14 to 16%. Lower energy than starter. Helps manage growth without making birds too fat. Layer feed, from 18 weeks. Protein, 16 to 18%. Added calcium for strong eggshells. Feed is only useful if presented properly. Wrong feeders cause wastage, contamination, and uneven growth. Chick trays. Used in the first week. Wide, shallow trays where chicks can easily peck. Reduce competition since many chicks can feed at once. Linear feeders. Long, narrow troughs used after the first week. Suitable for larger flocks. Must be raised slightly to prevent chicks from stepping inside. Round feeders. Most common in small to medium farms. Suspended or placed on the floor. Easy to refill and clean. Rule: each chick must have enough space to feed without pushing or fighting. First 2 weeks, 2 to 3 centimeters of feeder space per chick. 3 to 6 weeks, 5 to 7 centimeters per chick. If space is small, strong chicks eat more and grow faster, while weak ones starve silently. Uniform feeding creates uniform growth. Feed is important, but water is even more important. Without water, feed cannot be digested. Chicks need 2 to 3 times more water than feed. For every 1 kilogram of feed eaten, they drink about 2 to 3 liters of water. Types of drinkers. Chick fountains, bell drinkers. Place feeders and drinkers evenly around the brooder. Keep them close to the heat source but not directly under it, to avoid overheating or wet bedding. Raise them slightly as chicks grow, so they stay at back height of chicks. If drinkers are too low, chicks scratch bedding into the water. If too high, chicks cannot reach. The right height is always chest level. Common for the first 2 weeks. Provide clean, shallow water to prevent drowning. Automatic nipple drinkers. More hygienic, as water stays clean. Best for medium and large farms. Round drinkers. Standard in many small farms. Must be cleaned daily to avoid algae and bacteria. Never compromise on water quality. Always provide clean, fresh water. Avoid water from stagnant ponds or rivers. If tap water is heavily chlorinated, let it stand in an open container for 12 hours before giving it to chicks. Clean drinkers daily. Dirty drinkers spread coccidiosis and diarrhea faster than any disease. Common mistakes in feeding and watering. Overfilling feeders causes spillage and wastage. Placing feed directly on the floor, contamination and disease. Not adjusting feeder height. Feeders get dirty, chicks cannot access properly. Neglecting water hygiene. Dirty water is the fastest way to lose chicks. Mixing feeds of different stages. Nutritional imbalance. Water comes first, always give water before feed. Use chick trays first, then feeders as they grow. Provide enough feeder space to avoid competition. Chicks drink 2 to 3 times more water than feed. Clean water daily, never ignore water hygiene. Feed and water are the backbone of growth. Why ventilation is critical. Air is invisible, but it is as important as feed, water, and heat. When chicks breathe, they take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Their droppings release ammonia, and heaters release fumes. Without good ventilation, the air inside the brooder becomes stale, heavy, and poisonous. Good ventilation ensures a constant supply of fresh oxygen, removal of carbon dioxide and ammonia gases, regulation of temperature and humidity, stronger immunity and faster growth. Poor ventilation leads to respiratory problems, sneezing, coughing, gasping. Watery eyes from ammonia burns. Weak growth, because chicks spend energy fighting for air instead of growing. Higher mortality, especially in the first weeks. The quality of air in the brooder is the silent factor that decides whether chicks thrive or struggle. If your eyes sting when you enter the brooder, your chicks have been suffering much longer. Ammonia is a gas produced when droppings mix with moisture. It smells sharp, like rotten eggs. Levels above 25 parts per million, ppm, already cause harm. Chicks exposed to ammonia develop eye irritation, respiratory problems, and poor weight gain. Long-term exposure weakens immunity, opening doors for diseases like Newcastle and coccidiosis. How to control ammonia. Keep bedding dry, replace wet patches immediately. Ensure daily stirring of litter. Provide good airflow to carry gases out. Humidity is the amount of moisture in the air. Both too high and too low humidity are dangerous. High humidity, greater than 70%, bedding stays wet, ammonia rises, disease spreads faster. Low humidity, below 40%, chicks dehydrate, become thirsty, and lose weight. Ideal range, 50 to 60% relative humidity. How to manage. Avoid spilling water. Use proper drinkers. Adjust ventilation depending on season, more air in rainy season, less in dry season. Ventilation affects not just air quality, but also temperature regulation. In hot climates, more airflow reduces heat stress. In cold climates, too much airflow removes warmth and chills chicks. The farmer's role is to balance both, keep the air fresh without stealing away the warmth chicks need. You can recognize air problems through simple observation. Strong smell of ammonia. Wet, damp bedding. Chicks gasping with open beaks. Chicks huddling in corners to escape drafts. Eyes tearing, sneezing, or coughing sounds. Your nose and ears are your first tools of air management. If you are uncomfortable breathing inside the brooder, your chicks are already suffering 10 times more. Ventilation is life, it provides oxygen and removes harmful gases. Balance airflow, fresh air without drafts. Ammonia control is critical, dry bedding and airflow are the solution. Maintain humidity at 50 to 60%. Observe your chicks, their behavior reveals the quality of air. If heat is life, and feed is growth, then hygiene is the shield that protects all of it. Chicks are extremely delicate in their first weeks of life. Their immune system is still developing, which means they cannot fight off bacteria and viruses the way adult birds can. A single careless mistake in cleanliness can cause diseases like coccidiosis, salmonella, or fowl cholera to spread rapidly through the entire flock. Good hygiene is not about looking clean, it is about removing disease threats before they strike. Clean thoroughly, scrub walls, floor, feeders, and drinkers with disinfectant. Remove old litter, never reuse bedding from a previous batch. Burn or bury waste, used litter can carry disease, dispose of it properly away from the brooder. Disinfect the room, use a safe poultry disinfectant to kill germs. Fumigation can also be done 24 hours before chicks arrive. Rest the house, leave the brooder empty for at least 10 to 14 days after cleaning to break the cycle of bacteria and parasites. Think of the brooder as a hospital ward for newborn babies. You would never place them in a dirty, contaminated room. Treat your chicks with the same care. Hygiene is not a one-time job, it is a daily discipline. Fresh water, change drinking water at least once daily, preferably twice. Clean feeders and drinkers, wash them daily to remove slime, droppings, or leftover feed. Dry bedding, spot remove wet patches immediately. Remove dead chicks, always check morning and evening, and dispose of carcasses far from the brooder. Control spills, prevent water leakage around drinkers to avoid wet litter. Every morning, your first job should be, how clean is the brooder today? Hygiene inside the brooder means nothing if diseases are carried in from outside. This is where biosecurity comes in. Basic biosecurity practices. Limit visitors inside the poultry house. Provide a footbath with disinfectant at the entrance. Change shoes before entering the brooder. Handle sick or older birds last, and chicks first. Do not mix chicks with adult chickens, adults carry diseases silently. Your poultry house should be a protected zone, not a public walkway. Rats, mice, flies, and wild birds are more dangerous than they look. Rats and mice eat feed, kill chicks, and spread salmonella. Flies multiply in dirty litter and spread diseases. Wild birds bring viruses from outside flocks. How to control them? Seal holes in walls and floors. Use wire mesh to cover open spaces. Keep feed storage closed tightly. Maintain cleanliness so pests find nothing to feed on. As a poultry farmer, you are the biggest risk to your flock. Wash your hands before handling chicks. Wear clean clothes or an overall dedicated to the poultry house. Avoid moving between different farms. If you must, disinfect before entering your own house. Do not smoke, eat, or spit inside the brooder. Your hands can carry more diseases than you realize. Treat them as carefully as you treat your feed or water. Clean and disinfect before chicks arrive. Follow daily hygiene routines, clean water, clean feeders, dry bedding. Apply strict biosecurity, limit visitors, disinfect entry, separate chicks from adults. Control pests and rodents. Practice personal hygiene, you are part of the biosecurity chain. Dispose of waste safely and far from the brooder. And that brings us to the end of episode 2, the brooder setup. We've walked through the essentials, heat and temperature, bedding and floor, feed and water, ventilation, hygiene, and finally, security. Each part is a chain link, and when one link is weak, the entire chain breaks. But when all are strong, your chicks will thrive, growing into healthy, productive birds. At Happy Chicks Poultry Farm, our mission is to help farmers, beginners and experienced alike, succeed step by step. If you found this episode helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with fellow farmers, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss our upcoming episodes as we continue season 1 of our poultry journey. Until next time, remember, strong flocks begin with strong foundations. Take care of your chicks today, and they will take care of your farm tomorrow. This is Happy Chicks Poultry Farm, where farming grows, one chick at a time.